Peace and love. Peace and love, good people. Salute. Salute to everybody in the building. I'm over here checking my stuff. Looks like I'm good to go. Looks like I'm on deck. Let me see if we got anybody in the building as of yet. Oh my goodness. Yes, we do. Yes, we surely do. Have some family up in the building. Salute everybody. Wow, we got some folk up in here. Salute, salute, salute. Peace. Peace and infinite light. Peace and infinite love to my good family. I hope everybody's doing good. Wow, the brothers and the sisters are on deck. Let me know if you guys could hear me okay. Put some nines in the chat. You guys could hear me. You know, 9 is my number, okay? 9 is the number of Mars. Put some nines on deck. If y'all in the building, if you guys can hear me, if everything is audible to you. Hopefully everything's okay. I'm looking good on my end. While you guys do that, let me shout out some family in the building. Salute to the King Copper Aborigines in the building. The first one on deck today saying, salute Brother Drew and Sister SugarFreeMars, Rearranged and Deranged. Can things change even more? Ciao. Copper, we are going to get into that particular question as best we can. Okay, that's definitely the topic of discussion at hand today. Salute to the King, Snoopy, Mac, Dream Team, 10 toes on deck today. Salute to the King, Snoop. Always wonderful to see my brother. Infinite love, infinite blessings to my beautiful sister, Cameron Fields. 10 toes with the Queen, Sugar Free. She says, salute to my beautiful sis and the chat family. Yes, peace and blessings to you as well, beautiful sis. My twin, my lovely twin, the King, Daryl Anderson, on deck with the goddess Sugar Free today. Thank you for coming, Daryl. I appreciate you. He says, salute to my Leo twin Sugar Free. Salute to the rest of the kings and queens in the chat. Absolutely, King Daryl. Lovely to see you, twin. Oh my goodness. Hold up. Hold up. We got the Mr. King Tide in the building. Not the King Tide. Salute to you, King Tide. I feel like I have not seen you, in one of my lives, at least not to my recent memory. I don't think I've seen you in here for quite some time. Lovely to see you, King. Thank you so much for popping in this lovely Sunday evening and joining us. Thank you. Salute to you as well. Nice to see you. Yes, indeed. Okay, so while we got some family coming up in the building. Oh, hold up. Let me read what you said. He says, I've been busy the last couple of months and haven't been able to catch SugarFreeMars cook, but the support and the love has always and will always be present. Thank you so much, King Todd, for that beautiful statement. I appreciate your support, your fabulous insight anytime that you share it across platforms. Always lovely to hear from you and always lovely to see you. Thank you again for joining. I appreciate it. Let's see who else we got in the building. Shogun 76. Salute to you, King. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. We got the King Mansa Musa on deck. Hold up, Mansa. I didn't wrench you up. Hold up. I gotta wrench the King Mansa up. Okay, the King Musa in the building. Hold on, I always forget how to do it. Here we go. Yes, you should be taken care of now, King Musa. Lovely to see you. Ashe to my good brother, always. Nice to see you. Okay, we got some nines. You guys can hear me okay. The King forever is in the building. Lovely to see you, King. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. The King Stephen X, my brother, my beloved brother Stephen. Thank you so much for joining and wonderful to see you this lovely Sunday. As always, King, thank you so much. King Musa, write in the chat so I can make sure that you are wrenched up, okay? I want to make sure that you are wrenched up. Salute to everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. We definitely have some things to talk about today. We have had quite the week, right? And it's like I start every week saying that, and it really truly is the case. Boxing is in an ever-changing state right now, okay? The reformation within boxing seems to be at a diabolical high right now. And it may be, diabolical for the good or for the worse, but we are definitely going to put all of those queries on the table today and discuss what the rearranging and the reforming is looking like, and where is it that we could possibly be going with all the shifts and the turns that have been taking place. It's definitely a thorough discussion, and it's one that is certainly going to need to be ongoing, because of course we can't divulge all of it in one sitting, because it really is a lot going on. And, you know, a lot of these things are still materializing, right? And so much of it we have to sit back in anticipation for as things unfold. But as far as the things, of late that we have been seeing, what is the trajectory seems to be a running theme. And even before, these impositions have been put in place, I think that's been a lot since the new year. That's been a lot of the dialogue that I have been centering around, right? My good family knows what I'm talking about, the ones that ride with me. This is kind of a theme that we've kind of been opening up, even though it was unbeknownst to us, all the things that lie ahead, right? We did not know, that we'd be having things introduced into boxing that, were never introduced previously, back in January. That did not come to the forefront of our minds at all, right? But yet we were touching on these themes in our conversations with each other. And in the questions that I wanted to bring to the table for us to discuss, it was kind of like opening this bag of like, well, where are we going? And, the shifts and the turns. And, I spoke about the new dawns. I had no idea that would extend into the actual foundations of boxing, right? As far as, how business is handled, and even, into how we are going to be viewing boxing matches moving forward, right? A lot of things. Salute to the king, no cap. What's up, UK? I see you in the building. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. Salute to the king, UK. So these things are very much a part of, the things that we have been kind of, touching back and forth since the new year, right? Very interesting times. Now, I'll say this. I do not mind a good reimagining of perspectives. Okay, I just want to preface this conversation, our discussion today, by saying that. Okay, I do not mind a good reimagining of perspectives. Okay, I also do not mind a rearranging of the room, so to speak. Right? The reframing of ideas. I don't mind that when there is an invigorating, creative basis for it. When there is a creative energy behind it, a fresh take on how to uphold history, okay? And how that history can propel one towards, let's say, a unified path toward the future. When it is in that vein, I do not mind that. Okay? I like that. I like change. I like things to shift. I like movement. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, you guys, in boxing, ninjas got it misconstrued out here, y'all. Okay, some ninjas got it all the way twisted about the ideas and the themes of rearrangement and shifts. Okay, somewhere along the line, things seem to be getting misconstrued out here in these boxing streets, you guys. Am I lying or no? Have you guys been seeing it? I know my family's been peeping 10 toes, everything that's been going on, right? I'm talking about things like changes for the sake of, some random meaningless aim. I'm not on deck for that. I'm never on deck for meaningless aims, that have no insight, that have no care for the parties involved, right? No meaningless or random aim is ever going to, speak to the hearts of the masses of people. Aimlessness is never the trajectory. And I can't help but feel a tinge of aimlessness and randomness in the air right now. Okay? That type of change is never going to incite the masses who respect the soil that has been laid. Okay? Now, I understand that eras move in, and they shift and they reform all the time. I'm very much aware of that. Right? And things like that have happened across time, these types of shifts and movements. But what never sticks, no matter what time or era it is, are things that fail to speak to the people. Those things tend to die at some particular point. Okay? They don't seem to take hold. Now, that's not to say that people are always going to be singing the same song, one vision, one mind, this groupthink mentality. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's ever going to ever, be 100% liking the same things. That is not what I'm saying. But every movement should definitely shift and have a principle set in place that serves the interest of the people involved. That should always be, present, no matter what shift is taking place, in what era it's taking place within. Those type of principles should be set. That type of thing should be had in mind by the people who are moving and shaking the lane, if you will. Okay? Boxing to me is moving in a somewhat dubious arena right now, you guys. I cannot help but feel that. The things that we have been getting introduced to, and the things that have been being had as of late, have not seemingly been, at least this is my point of view, the things that have been getting introduced have not been seemingly inclusive of the idea that the boxing community is a very diverse community. Okay? And because of that diversity that we hold as a boxing community, we should have models in place that speak to the array that we are. Facts or no facts? There's no monolith in boxing. We are as diverse as the people that represent it, as the men and women who have fought. All types of perspectives and modalities and, mindsets. We run the gamut on that. And so we should have models in place that speak to that dynamism, right? That dynamism. Styles and mindsets of a particular making, for example, you guys, are being coddled in one area, while other things that show any sense of variation, any sense of divergence from what they are trying to uphold right now, anything that exists outside of those means, seem to me to be under attack by all types of agendas that are set in place to convince the public that the thing that has variety and shows dynamism has no value, simply because it does not adhere to the one-dimensional. That's problematic for me, and that is what I am seeing in many ways in the sport right now, across the sport right now. Very interesting times we are in, you guys. There are certainly things needing rearranging in the sport, that's for sure, right? That's not to say that the rearranging idea or the concept of the shift in the movement is not welcomed. It is always welcomed, right? Because there are certainly things that need a sense of rearrangement, right? But the things of importance that need the reformation are being left untouched. Things that really need changing a face are being undiscussed. They don't want to bring change to these particular things like, I don't know, let's say PED usage in the sport. Okay? People don't want to call attention to the fact that, as I say time and time again, you guys, an alarming number of non-black athletes are incessantly popping dirty. Nobody is calling attention to that. Can we bring a rearrangement in that arena and department, please? Where's the reformation of the PED usage and the penalties that are set in place to quell the issue. Where is that? Where's the change there in that department? Where is the change in the duckery, right? The blatant ducking from competition. Where is the change there? Okay? I'd like to see the change on the part of the mindset of fans who think it's cute to coddle this type of cowardice, that we see from fighters like Teofimo Lopez. And we could even call out Tank Davis, who has refused to test himself over the years. Where is the change on the behalf of the perspective of boxing fans? We need some rearranging too, as a boxing community, outside of the media landscape I'm speaking of, right? There's some rearranging that I think the boxing fans need as well. So the rearranging is twofold. I always look at things with a level of duality and duplicity, because there are the things that exist, that are threatening change in a direction that we have not yet certified is a direction that we want to go within. And then there's also the question of rearranging as it comes to our perspectives, because we have to be thinking bigger about these things, and we have to be thinking courageously about these things. We cannot be afraid to speak up when a change is due. And so the balance of that is the discussion at hand today, right? There are definitely some things that I would like removed if possible. And there's definitely some things that I would like ushered in as a replacement, things that need to supplant the current standard at hand, 1000% for sure, right? But, what is really on the table for boxing amid all of the rearranging that we see? What are the alterations bringing us towards, in other words? I think that's a very viable question, because if the rearrangement that is underway isn't bolstering the dynamism of the very thing that we love about the sport, all the things that we love about the sport, if it isn't bolstering that sense of dynamism, are we instead ushering in the derangement of the sport? That's a very big question. Are we ushering in the derangement of the sport? Things just completely going awry? All types of things introduced? Is a circus being made, or does a circus stand to be made of this sport? Interesting question that I had over the past week that I wanted to bring to the table and center in our discussion today. Now, let me get into this really quickly, because I think it's a great way to open the segment, and it is the one concerning Turki. Some aspects of what I found of Turki Alalshiek, and just the whole upcoming concept that he has been positing that he is going to be initiating in the coming months. Now, Turki seems to be in the business of an awful lot of left turns as of late. Okay? Man's been making wild statements, abrupt impositions, all of that. All right? Now, what exactly is this man doing? That's a huge question right now that I have. Okay? During the presser for the Canelo Crawford fight earlier this week, Turki enlightened, you guys, the boxing world. I'm sure all of you already know, right? He enlightened the boxing world of something that I nearly had to clear my ears for and rewind. I was like, wait, what did he just say? Now, this statement that he made is coming off the back of his already controversial supposition that he wants to eliminate, quote unquote, Tom and Jerry styled boxing from his fight cards from here on out. All right. So it's already coming off of the back of this huge statement that he made, that we got into last week in our discussion. Well, in the Bud Canelo presser, he made it clear that not only does he stand by that rhetoric, but that he now seeks to incentivize this claim by introducing what he calls a knockout bonus to fighters. A knockout bonus to fighters, you guys. What the helly? Like that's dead ass. The only thing that I could say upon hearing that, what? A knockout bonus? I would ask for this to be explicated to me, but at this juncture, you guys, beautiful family, the senselessness of this is so far beyond any exposition or clarification that it is absolutely futile for me to even ask for such. I can't even ask for somebody to explicate this to me because I don't think I'm ever going to get it because I don't agree. A KO bonus? Did you guys hear that this week, you guys? The knockout bonus? Now, is it me or, is this seemingly being made more and more into a circus show? Boxing is looking and feeling like a circus show to me, you guys. That was an overwhelming feeling that I had throughout the past week. It's feeling like a circus. What are you talking about incentivizing fighters with a KO bonus? You want to incentivize and reinforce fighters for a KO? This is appearing to be like a carnival to me, real talk. If I could be very blunt. It's looking like a carnival to me, you guys. Like drawing in a crowd, so that they could come see the shapes that the clown is making on his balloons. That's what this is looking like to me. It's just feeling like a spectacle. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? It's looking like a spectacle to me. Are we in a circus? Oh, let me draw in the crowd. Come now. Come quick. Come hither for the KO. Come on in for the KO, y'all. Look at all the colors the clown can make on his balloon. I don't know. That's absolutely the imagery that popped up into my mind upon viewing this, you guys. Also what initially came to mind while I was on the Beautiful King Champside's panel, shout out to my brother Champside. I was in discussion with him, I believe that was on Friday, and he broke this particular news to me to the panel, of the KO incentive. We were actually live on his channel when he broke that. I had not heard it previously. So, what came to mind when I was on his panel was how often hold on one second, you guys. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so what initially came to mind was how often we hear experienced warriors disclose the fact that they are never necessarily on the hunt for a KO, right? So upon hearing the news, in other words, what struck me was the fact that, I was recollecting on how we often hear fighters address the question of the KO. Let's say whenever they are interviewed, right? When they are asked things like, what's your prediction for the fight, right? Are you going to get the KO? How do you predict the fight? Are you going to knock him out? You guys have heard that time and time again, right? People trying to, the interviewers trying to incite the excitement around, if they're going to get the KO. But we often always hear the intelligent, battle-tested warriors say things like that they are not on a one-track mission for a KO. That's what we often hear from experienced fighters, right? We often hear them say things like, listen, I'm in there 10 toes. I'm going in for that dub. I'm going to snatch my victory. I'm not going in there looking for no KO, but if it comes, it comes. I am not headhunting. I'm going to go in there smart, but if the KO comes, the KO comes. Right? This is what we often hear. We often hear this type of approach from experienced fighters. Right? You could run the gamut on how many fighters over the years have said things like that. Now, of course, a knockout would be great, right? But I'm not going to necessarily, abandon my game plan. I'm not going to, completely jettison my logic or my sensibilities just to go ahead and go attempt a knockout, in other words. That's not what an intelligent fighter is going to do. They are not going to jettison their sensibilities, just to get a knockout and a high five. You know what I mean? This is war. At the end of the day, these fighters are thinking, yo, I got to be smart in there as well as aggressive, right? This is how they are thinking. And this has absolutely been my issue with Turkey's supposition from the start, with that whole Tom and Jerry debacle. This is part and parcel to why I never, jumped on the bandwagon of the whole Tom and Jerry spiel. It was nonsense to me from day one. And now he is trying to add steam to that claim and reinforcement to that claim by incentivizing a KO victory. Do you guys hear this? This has to be processed, you guys. It really does. Okay? This is not fucking MMA, in other words. Okay? Now, I know that there's a such thing in MMA, like an incentive program or something like that in place for MMA fighters. I've heard that through the grapevine over the years, recent years, that, such a thing exists over there in MMA. This is not MMA. This is boxing. Okay? This is where great men have ruled for over a century, doing what they do. Beautiful warriors, beautiful brothers. Okay? How dare you, attempt to soil and dampen and limit the stature and craftsmanship of this sport with that type of nonsense. It just feels cheap to me. It feels cheap and it feels fickle and tasteless. A notion to present to the table. I can't even believe that man said such a thing, y'all. It's absolutely mind-blowing. A KO incentive. You know what I mean? Now, speaking about the Crawford, because this is intertwined, of course, within the Crawford presser, because the statement about, him dropping the news of the KO incentive was verified during the presser. So I'm going to hover over this presser for a little bit, because a lot of it is in tandem with, the discussion at hand. Now, there was a point in the interview that did appease me greatly, and I was very surprised by that. I did not expect to be appeased at any particular moment of this interview, but there was definitely a moment that I was like so thrilled to hear. Now, there was a segment where Bud was asked about, the idea of adhering to the quote unquote Tom and Jerry notion, right? He was asked about if he would adhere to that or his thoughts about that while in battle. And the presenter asked, he said this, quote, you hear his excellency, you hear his excellency saying, no more Tom and Jerry, no more running. But you're moving up 2 weight classes. It's not going to be smart for you to stand there and hammer it out with this guy. So how do you kind of balance that? No running, but being elusive, fighting Canelo. That's what the presenter asked to Bud in the initial presser earlier this week. And I thought that was actually a wonderful question. And quite frankly, this is the only query that I've heard posed on a professional stage, pushing this topic so far. I haven't heard anything, outside, of course, outside of the platforms that we openly hold the discussions on, like my platform, Champ Side, BF, and all the other channels that we love, who posed this question. But I have never heard the question put outwardly and forthrightly outside of our own community, outside of our own circle. So it's wonderful to hear the presenter on the main stage bring this question to the forefront, right? It's most certainly the first query that I've seen a fighter address, right? Because I've heard no fighter even talk about it. So I'm glad that it was put to Bud's attention, right? Now, Bud's response to that question was exactly what I needed to hear, you guys. Okay? Completely in tandem with my own sentiments. I was so pleased with what he said. So now he said, quote, this is Bud, quote, however I gotta fight, I'ma win. Simple as that. I'm not gonna let somebody else force me or tell me how to fight when I have been fighting my whole life. I won't be running, I can tell you that, but I will be, doing a lot of touching. End quote. That's Bud's statement. How wonderful was that to hear? Because it's exactly everything that I had been saying. How the hell is this man gonna, impose? Oh, well, you can't run. Oh, a smaller ring, and like he's going to, shun you if you exercise any level of footwork. You know what I'm saying? If you're not just standing there senselessly banging it out with somebody, no quote unquote Tom and Jerry run. You got to abandon your senses. You got to abandon your logic and intelligence as a warrior. And Bud is like, listen, you ain't gonna tell me how to fight. I've been fighting my entire life. I don't give a damn who this nigga is. Nobody's going to tell me how to get in there and do battle. Nobody. And I so appreciated that sentiment and the steadfastness of Bud's comment, because we need more people talking like that. Real talk, I feel like I'm the only one, along with the other real ones standing 10 toes behind this, particular logic and who uphold this particular logic, about how nonsensical such a thing is. I really feel like we need more people talking about that. And I have certainly not heard any fighters make anything close to the statement that Bud has made. We need more fighters saying that, because when we get more fighters being as honest as Bud was in that moment, this bullshit is going to be canned ASAP. ASAP. If nobody is down with it, it won't get done. And Turkey going to have to take the L. So I'm glad, Bud made that imposition in real time when he was asked that question. No chaser. He stood 10 toes and was like, nobody's going to tell me how to fight. Nobody. And I definitely appreciated that. Now, even though that was a really good moment in that presser, we did get in that moment, a second of reprieve and respite from the BS, if you will. With Bud's acclamation. It was wonderful to hear that. It's nice breath of fresh air. It wasn't going to totally, quell or dispel the pushing of the ongoing agenda that was absolutely obvious, overall within this press conference. The agenda was so thick, you guys. Even though we got the moment of respite with Bud's statement, the agenda was definitely, thoroughly on the move, within this presser. We could not bypass the agenda, unfortunately. So, the whole idea of the running is a narrative that the media is vying for, you guys. I've said that time and time again. It's a narrative that the media is vying for, and one that Turkey has assumed wholeheartedly. At another juncture in the presser, you guys, when the presenter turned his question to Canelo now, he asked Canelo, he said the following, he says, quote, do you expect him to run like a lot of people? Do you hear this question? This is what the presenter asked Canelo. Do you expect him to run like a lot of people? And Canelo briefly interjects, right? And he says, I hope not. He couldn't wait to say this. This is Canelo. Quote, I hope not, because I think people deserve a good fight. That's why we are here, right? To make a good fight. And the best fighter wins. And I expect that he puts on a great fight. So this is Canelo now. This is Canelo. As I said last week, trying to impose onto Bud, don't disappoint me now. Don't go doing the things that make me uncomfortable. Don't go doing things in the ring that challenge me. Don't do that old running, aka, elite boxing, aka expertise, footwork. Don't go doing any of that now. Don't go surpassing my abilities with your own skill set, right? So he is essentially saying that to make it a good fight, one has to abandon all of their tools for battle in order to quote unquote make this a good fight for him now. Okay? So this is touching much of what we discussed last week that I was calling attention to last week. Oh, I hope not. Let's make this a good fight. We want this to be a good fight, aka a good fight for me so that I am not challenged on the battlefield because I have no feet that can keep up with your footwork. I do not know how to cut off the ring, etc., etc. Right? This is what is being said. This is the implication in his statements. Right? So once again, here's the full-on assault, the full-on agenda on the pure boxing style that is strongly attributed and associated to the Black American elite fighter as an assault on this style, right? Once again, we've got the language setting the stage for the berating of what the elite black fighter is heralded for, okay? This is what's happening within this agenda, you guys. Whether you can see that or not, I don't know. A lot of my family in here is, cognizant people of intelligibility, right? But there are many of them out there, but this is going to go right over their goddamn heads. But this is actually in real time what is happening. Okay? And we've also got to consider, that they have taken the historical narrative, the historical marginalization, the historical jargon, okay, that is attributed to the term quote unquote running. There is a history tied to that term, as I always try to posit at the forefront, because we need to know that history. We need to know that history is very much real then, and it's very much center stage now. Okay? Oh, do you think he's going to run? This is the presenter. Do you think he's going to run? You got to be privy of this. What the hell kind of question is that? So that this is now the centerpiece of people's perception. That's what the aim and objective is to put that at the centerpiece of the perception of the public who are watching and tuning in. If Bud or another elite black warrior goes into battle, you guys, this is setting the stage for where people are now going to be liable to be on a hyperactive lookout for his footwork. That's what all of this rhetoric surrounding the running is doing to the onlooker, be it the casual or the enthusiast. All degrees of people, they are putting the concept of running as the centerpiece in your mind so that whenever you see a black elite male attributed and accredited for his boxing, you will automatically now have an hyperactive awareness or critique already at the forefront. You're going to be on the lookout for his footwork. You're going to be on the lookout for his movement, in other words, right? There is going to be created a heightened level of inspection on the part of the audience, a heightened level of auditing on the part of the audience as a consequence. That is what is going to happen, you guys. They are inculcating into you, a level of reconnaissance, a hyperactive level of reconnaissance. You are going to be inspecting everything now. Oh, he moved to the left. He's running. Oh, he moved to the right. He's running. Do you understand? there is going to be a hyperbolic reaction to the footwork whenever it is displayed in any way, in other words. This is what the mind is being trained for by this agenda. That's what they are training the public's mind to do. Okay? So that there seems to me to be an attempt by the media in Turkey and all the, those who conspire, who are named and not named, an attempt to add the air of an insurmountable level of pressure on the elite black male. And it's a pressure that no other fighter has to deal with. This is the result. That any elite black male is going to have an added pressure in addition to all of the pressure he is already carrying into that ring, because there is an extra and an excessive layer of pressure put on him now, because everybody's going to be extra critical about him moving to the left. The elite black male is going in there, in other words. Unlike his flat-footed counterpart, for example, the elite black male is going in there not only with his own desires to win and his own awareness and level of scrutiny that he normally goes in there with, because he is dealing with the reality that the public is going to criticize him, they're going to look at him or whatever. That's natural, right? He is already going in there with these things naturally. But in addition to all of that weight he is carrying into the ring of wanting to put on a good performance, of wanting to please maybe spectators, of all of these things that come with the game, he is also going into that ring now at this particular point with this added weight. He is now having to deal with the pressure of possibly having to lessen and limit his arsenal. He's going to be pressured to limit his arsenal, essentially, in order to perform within the framework of, or to the pleasure of, the spectator who is against his natural skill set. Do y'all hear what I'm telling you? He got the added pressure of saying, well, maybe I should not move to the left. Maybe I should not move to the right. This is the added pressure that no other fighter of any other culture is going into the ring with. Make it the fuck make sense. If this is not making sense, because it goddamn makes sense to me. Okay? This is not a particular pressure or impediment that is being placed upon non-black fighters, or let's say upon fighters who don't box. Fighters who do not box don't have this added pressure on their backs now, due to this hyper scrutiny that's being placed on people who box. This is a direct insult and assault and burden being placed on the elite boxing style. Even those people considered, let's say, boxer punchers, because they box, they are not exempt. They are included in this. Okay? And it's becoming to a point now where any level of defense, any level of evasion, any level of avoidance or illusion stands to be criticized. This is what's at stake. I mean, this is the extreme example of it, right? But this is the stage that is being set with this agenda. This is what's being set with the pushing of this mindset to the forefront of the public's mind. This is the extreme scenario of it. Any level of defense displayed is going to be criticized, particularly from the elite black fighter who exemplifies that during battle. Okay? This is the possibility. This is what is possible in boxing. Possibly more than ever seen before. Even though, the term running stems from a long history. As long as the sport itself, as long as black men have been a part of the sport, this term has been attributed to them. They have been labeled and branded, so to speak, with this particular term for all sorts of reasons, whether they were runners or not. It's because of their elite style that could not be overcome that they were attributed to this. Didn't matter. if they were excessively moving or not. They were deemed runners. They called Sugar Ray a runner, Leonard a runner. They called Charlie Burley a runner. Lots of greats. They called Muhammad Ali a runner. Okay, throughout the time of this beautiful sport that we love. This has been historically associated and attributed to elite black men. We got to understand that. It is no different now. It's a running narrative, taking from that history and pulling from that history. Okay? The assault on the elite black style that cannot be dominated by, the plethora of non-black fighters. Okay, and this is them taking issue with that, and this is a real-time exemplification for you. We've got an elite black male in Bud Crawford and a flat-footed non-black man telling him, oh, you got to fight to my liking. Oh, make the fight good. Oh, I hope he don't run. And you got Turkey co-signing this, citing Tom and Jerry, giving and incentivizing KOs. Do you see what I'm talking about? These things must be looked at in tandem because this is the reality. Now I'm sure that there's going to be fighters who are perfectly fine with that. People who will not mind, the branding of the Tom and Jerry, people who will not mind the idea of the KO bonus, if you will, right? And there are also going to be fans who are enthusiastic about this as well. People are going to be thinking that, the KO bonus is only there to satiate our palate. This is what we prefer. We want to see the KOs more. So, our preference for seeing the KO is going to be satisfied, right? And to that understanding, to each is definitely their own, right? You're never going to find me saying personally that I have an issue with seeing great knockouts. That is not the case at all. That is not my argument today. I'm not making that argument because I am a boxing fan, which means that I love everything that encompasses the sport. I'm not a one-dimensional boxing enthusiast. I am all in, 10 toes. I love the sport, okay? And so whatever it brings to me, the victory at the end of the day is what I care about. I want to see my fighters get their dub. I want to see them, stand 10 toes and claim their space. That's what I support, right? I'm not saying that a KO is something that I need to be disassociated from at all. I'm not making that claim at all. What I am trying to corner here, okay, is my issue with the attempt to curtail a fighter's battle style. The curtailing of a fighter's battle strategy. His makeup, his center of foundation. That's what I have a problem with. Because that's what's happening in incentivizing a KO. You are essentially galvanizing and rousing a need for one to abandon their intelligence during battle. The way that they've sharpened their swords, for example, the way that they have developed their craft, many of them since they were 6, 7 years old. This is what you are curtailing in order to add a few more zeros to their checks. These people have been sharpening their sword and tending to their craft, all of their lives. And you are saying that all of the craftsmanships that they have been studying and undergoing for all of these years. Oh, we'll just put that to the side and just do a little bit of more of the things that's going to get you the KO. Fuck all of your fucking education since you were 7 years old, since you were a baby. You know what I mean? All the things that make you great, essentially. Just put all that down. And how about you just run in there and go ahead and go get the KO? I give you a few more zeros on your check now you're here. This is what is being reinforced. This is the issue, right? The issue, I must also add a reminder here, is not them getting more money. I also do not have an issue with the fact of being incentivized as a fighter, with the fact of, being presented the opportunity to make additional money. I have no problem with that. I want all these people to get out here and get the bag. If they do, unthinkable things. You know what I'm saying? They get up and train their bodies. They get up and train their minds. They sacrifice time with their families. They sacrifice their lives in the ring. All types of things that the average person could never, even imagine on a day-to-day basis as a livelihood. That's what these men get up in there and go do, right? I have no problem with additional money being added to the pot. But my issue is rather how their health and susceptibility to an already imminent danger as a fighter is also being overlooked, in addition to their craftsmanship. Their health is being overlooked, as I posited with you guys last week. That's a big issue for me, the health and safety of these fighters. It's already bad enough that these motherfuckers are having leniency when it comes to people popping dirty for PEDs who are overwhelmingly non-black. Now you telling me that you want to, go in there and run the goddamn gamut and just try to knock somebody's head off for a KO. Where is the care about their health? Where is the care about their intelligence, their craftsmanship, their well-being as a whole? I just don't see where these things are respectful of the fighter. I have questions about that. Because the health, real talk, is what is at stake via this implementation and incentive. We got to be real about that. Now, again, I enjoy seeing a good KO just as anyone else does, okay? I'm there for it when it happens, naturally, right? Who doesn't want to see that? We just saw the beautiful young lion, B. Norman, deliver a devastating one, right? And we all stood up and cheered for our brother, our beautiful brother. Yes, indeed, right? But what I do not want to see, are these fighters extending themselves senselessly or via the avenue of being pressured, further into the arms of, like I said, an intrinsic peril, an already latent danger that comes with being a boxer. It really is a touchy situation for me. I'm protective of the men that I support 1000%. And overall, I very much am kind of protective of the fighter in general. Like I said, I respect every warrior that gets in the ring, whether I know them by name or not, whether you are on my, gunners list or not. I really do respect the fighter. Okay? So that I'm not for holding anybody's life in the balance or, the misrepresenting or mishandling of that life of any fighter. You know what I'm saying? I respect all fighters. Okay. I'm sure there are an assortment of perspectives about this. I know that a lot of people have, all types of varying views about it, but it's important either way that we are having this conversation about these implementations and the rearrangement that is happening by way of Turkey. We got to talk about this, you guys. I'd love to hear some insights from fighters themselves, real talk, more often, because like I said, I do not hear fighters talking about this. Bud Crawford was the first fighter who was posed the question publicly, and he's the first one that had a public platform and, unabashedly stated his thoughts, like nobody's going to tell me what to do in the ring. You know what I mean? And I appreciated Bud for that, because I would have said the exact same thing if I were him. We need fighters chiming in on this. We need fighters chiming in on the changes being made. Okay. We definitely do need that. Everyone right now is seemingly going along to get along as far as the fighters are concerned. Nobody is saying anything. And it's bizarre to me. With such drastic changes being made, we should not be silent. We should not have fighters being silent. These are huge changes. We are talking about the changing size of a ring. Listen, these people have trained their whole lives in a standard size ring, to one degree or another, right? This is where most of the trainings are. They train in a ring that is going to resemble and reimagine the actual ring that they will be fighting in on fight night. So now, your whole concept, your whole compass is altered as a fighter, because now that means you got to change out your whole goddamn gym. You got to get a smaller ring if one wasn't already in your gym or whatever have you. And now you've got to begin practicing all of your tools in whatever in this new ring. Now, I know that there's a level of this that's saying, well, listen, a boxer, an elite skilled boxer is going to bring all of his skills. It doesn't matter what size ring he is. Listen, I'm all for that. You know what I'm saying? I do not fight on an elite level. So, I'm not under those lights to the capacity that these men and beautiful kings are under those lights. It is possible that they may be equipped enough to be able to handle that. I am not taking away from their skill set that would ensure that they're going to be able to do what they need to do regardless. I'm just saying, for those that, like I said, there are things that come with, your means of practicing. You know what I'm saying? We were not talking about an 18 by 18 ring, which is really a 16 by 16 ring or something to that degree, 3 months ago. So that prior to now, all of the fighters have been training in a standard size ring. All of the fighters have been expecting to get in a standard size ring on fight night. You know what I'm saying? So that the shift is what I'm talking about. You cannot, these men are literally, they are in there. Turkey fat ass ain't in that goddamn ring. You know what I'm saying? So that such an abrupt change is ridiculous, because you would think he's the motherfucker that's in the center of the ring with the guns blazing, ready to take somebody's head off tonight. He ain't in there. His fat ass is sitting ringside spectating with his motherfucking glasses on, hiding them dark ass bags under his eyes. You know what I'm saying? I had to flame Turkey up real quick, because I'm not feeling that. Usually I rock with Turkey. I had to flame his ass real quick. I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? His fat ass is sitting ringside with some popcorn, thinking about somebody bringing him some baked chicken and some sweet potatoes. Get out of my face, Turkey. Until your ass is in that ring, like Bud said, you shouldn't be telling nobody how to fight with goddamn style or nothing. Sit your ass back and enjoy the fight like you've been doing all your life. Just enjoy the fight and let these brothers cook. That's the type of time that I'm on right now as far as that is concerned. But we definitely need to be hearing more voices of fighters, with their perspectives about this. It's definitely needed. This is not the time to be silent. These are huge, drastic changes. Like I said, isn't this the time now to be giving your voice? Isn't this the time to speak up? Hear people, of the fighters speaking up about this, right? Isn't this the time to hear, maybe, the adding of some discernment, some sagacity, some posits, some critiques even brought to the forefront? We need the dialogue from the fighters, because they are the ones that have to get inside the ring. I know that I am, introducing my posits to the table, but I'm not going in the ring with Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going in the ring with Devin Haney or whoever else. So that their voices are central, I think, to the changing or the upholding of these implementations that are being made by Turki Alalshiek. Okay? If I could end really quickly as far as this particular subject is concerned, there was a second press conference held today. I'm not sure if you guys caught that a little bit earlier, a couple of hours ago, I want to say. And Bud and Canelo had a second presser. And thankfully, you guys, did you guys see how Turkey has been goddamn promoting? Well, yes, it is promoting the fight, with the pictures on his Instagram. I'm not sure how many of you have Twitter, not on his Instagram, but on his Twitter. He's been posting pictures of goddamn, dinner dates and goddamn, festivities and goddamn everything else but these motherfuckers trying to take each other's heads off. And I really wasn't with I wasn't with it. I wasn't with the display that I was getting on his social media earlier this week, showing him with Bud and Canelo and how they were just sitting down and just, leisurely eating. And it's like, what's going on here? Right? Thankfully, at this presser that took place earlier today, you guys, there was no candlelit dinners on deck. There were no exchanging of flowers and chocolates. There were no kisses on the cheek. There were no glares into each other's eyes and sweet nothings in each other's ears. Thankfully, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? This is the time where we're supposed to be on damn demon time. I don't want to see no candlelit dinners. What the hell is going on here? I absolutely could not stand what I was coming across this week, you guys, if you guys could not tell already, right? I couldn't stand what I was. It's like, what is this? I'm scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, what are these pictures? Why are they lavishly having dinner together? These men aren't going to go try to chop each other's heads off in a couple of months. What is happening? Turkey is posting pictures of them, at it looked like a 3-way date or something. They on a blind date. What is going on? I don't want to see these men schmoozing over, a glass of red wine. What? No, this is not the time for that, Mr. Turkey. These men are going to be at each other's necks in September. Save the goddamn dinners for after the fight. How about that? Turkey was absolutely pissing me off with that. That is exactly why, if you guys look on your thumbnail, that picture of Bud and Canelo, that's exactly why I have the picture, of them in their damn PJs looking like they had a sleepover because they were getting too chummy with each other in that damn photo of them at dinner. Shit was absolutely diabolical seeing them posted up at dinner and the red wine. I was like, well, goddamn, are y'all going to kiss each other goodnight after this? Shit was crazy. But anyway, it was great to see Bud at today's, the second presser today with Canelo. They reset, in my view. They reset the energy, they reset the room, and they seem to have remembered why they are actually here. So I'm glad that, that was shaken off, and hopefully we see no future pictures of them schmoozing and whining and dining each other at a damn dinner table. Shit was wild. I was glad to see them back on Demon Time. The energy was definitely full force in the room. If you guys didn't catch that presser. Did you guys hear how Canelo was crying to Turkey? Here we go yet again, right? So when Canelo was asked, why do you think people should come out to see this particular fight? All the people support Canelo. What makes this fight special? Why should they show up in support of this particular fight? And Canelo says, quote, "It's going to be one of the greatest fights ever. I don't know what fight he's going to make, but I'm going to prepare myself for every style he brings. I hope he brings a good style to make a good fight for the people. That's what I want. If not, I'm going to do my best to win in whatever way." Right? And then he abruptly blurts out after he stops. He goes, Turkey, you need to bring a smaller ring. You need to bring, a smaller ring. This is what he starts saying to Turkey, right? It's like, once again, this motherfucker thinks that he can, first of all, tell Bud how to fight him. Because, of course, by good fight, like I said earlier, he means don't challenge me, don't outwit me, don't show exemplary footwork, none of that. Make this a good fight. Let me bang it out with you, essentially, so that I can have the way that I like to fight, at the forefront of this, which means that I get to control the pace and the tone of the fight. So that's number one. And secondly, here is the call to the old quote unquote black man running. Oh, we need a smaller ring, meaning, so because he can't run, so get a smaller ring. Do you see this? Crazy work. And it's like, yo, are you scared? Why is Canelo so scared? You're trying to tell Bud how to fight because he's going to outbox the hell out of you. You ain't got no goddamn feet. You got cement blocks on your feet. You got anchors on your damn feet. You can't move around the ring to save your goddamn life. That's why you calling for a smaller ring. That's why you begging on your goddamn knees for a quote unquote good fight. Make the fight good. Because you can't do nothing with Bud and his boxing abilities. This nigga scared. I gotta say that in my Tupac voice. This ninja's scared. Is he scared or no? What type of man start begging and pleading? Oh, bring your arsenal, but don't bring all your tools now, you hear? What kind of nonsense is this when you're getting ready for war? That's not the type of warrior that I am. Okay? You better bring your biggest one. That's me. Bring the biggest one you got. Because you better already know that I'm not coming with nothing less than my biggest one. We're going to go all the way there. That's the type of shit that I'm on. What the fuck is Canelo talking about? Oh, make this a good fight. Oh, don't run. Turkey, bring a smaller ring. Everything to try to manipulate and manage as best he can. The type of fight that he would like to have come September. But you know what? Even amid all of that complaining from Canelo, I absolutely relished in Bud's response. I loved Bud's response to this nonsense because, of course, like I said, Canelo was, reverting to that old running agenda, that they've been heavily pushing. But Bud replies with this, you guys. Shit was absolutely gangster. This is Bud. He says, quote, yeah. The only running I'm going to be doing is upside his head. And I can assure you that. Facts. And he got a big head too. Oh shit, Bud said he got a big head too, right? I'm gonna be going upside his head. This is what Bud said to Canelo and his incessant whining. Oh yeah. only running that's gonna be had is running upside your goddamn head. I was like, talk that shit, bud. Now I'm interested in this fight. In every way that I have been tepid about it, in every way that I have been kind of lukewarm and kind of, a little bit uninterested, kind of had disparate thoughts about it. This presser today got me riled up because I love Bud's energy. I love that he said what he said in the presser earlier this week, about not being told how to fight. He's the one that controls and dictates his fight style. I love that. And now this, I was like, yes, Bud. I was already rocking with you. I was already rooting with you. I'm going to always stand with my brothers, right? But now I'm actually interested in the fight because you guys know I really had no real interest invested in this fight. But now I love the energy that Bud brought to the table. It was definitely needed because, what I'm saying, all the fucking whining and dining and the, the stalling out of the date and the weird energy that's been surrounding this fight as far as I've seen. It really needed that type of, jolt of energy, jolt of masculinity, being pushed at the forefront. And I loved seeing that, right? I was like, he styled on his ass. Definitely. Oh, also things got a little bit physical, y'all, at the end of that presser. Did y'all see that? At the end of the presser, during that face-off, Bud pushed up on Canelo. He was walking up to him, and then he started walking him back. And, just started backing him up little by little. And Canelo kind of looked like a deer in headlights. Like he didn't really know that he was being, pulled up on like that. He didn't know that he was being pushed up on, right? And then like when he realizes it, he pushes Bud, you know what I mean? And, Bud is already with the shits. He already with that pressure. So he was like, all right, well, what? He started, he continued walking up on Canelo. But of course, everybody got in the way and stuff like that. I'm like, this is exactly what I need, Bud. Turn the shit up. Turn it up. Okay? I needs the smoke. Okay? I don't step into nothing cold. I don't like nothing cold. Okay? So he definitely brought the heat. He definitely brought the fire on deck. I was definitely appreciative of that. I don't want to see no goddamn wine and intimate dinners from here on out. I need the demon time. So I'm glad he set the stage for that energy to be had. And I'm glad that he definitely, stated frankly, what he intends to do come this fight. I definitely like that. So, yeah, what did y'all think about the presser? This is the type of shit that we need going into September. So shout out to Bud Crawford for that. Definitely entertaining for sure. Did you guys get a chance to see that presser earlier today? And did y'all peep the presser earlier this week? You know what I'm saying? Did y'all catch when Turkey had initially introduced the KO bonus? What do y'all think about this KO bonus? I gotta check in with my people for that. What the fuck y'all think about this KO bonus, y'all? Shout out to the good family. Oh my goodness. I see some people that I missed. I missed quite a bit of people. I'm just scrolling up a little bit, you guys. Give me a moment. Shout out to King J Man in the building. Salute to you. Salute to the King Vonnie. I see you. The great Mike is in the building. The lovely King Freedom's March is in the building. Salute to you, King. Salute to Vince Vileborn, LDBC in the building. Shout out to the LDBC, by the way, all my beautiful brothers, 10 toes in the LDBC. Gotta salute the family. Salute to y'all. Salute to my beautiful sister, Chiquila Fields in the building. Nice to see you. Yes, indeed. King Vonnie says, I would encourage you to play to my strengths as well. Well, Bud would be a fool to adhere to that. He would be an absolute fool to adhere to that. And it comes off as absolutely cowardly to ask for such. Like I said, I want you to bring your biggest one. Bring your biggest one. Don't come in here half-stepping with me. You know what I'm saying? Come in there because I don't want to hear no excuses when I behead you. That's just how I am. The King Mansa Musa says, Turkey is no different than the colonizer. He just got a lot of money and plays both sides with his camel breath. Oh, well, damn, Mansa Musa chose violence. Facts. Yep, I'm just scrolling through. The King Tide says, they need to mind fuck black men to lower their abilities to help all of the lesser races. Black fighters cannot fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Exactly. Yeah, they need to mind warp the situation as completely as they can. So that you can quell that fire that you already have as an athlete. Oh, we need to find a way to dwindle, your power, so that we could stand on an equal footing. And hence, this is also, going back and stemming back to the conversation of PEDs and why, there is, an obvious and blatant bias and leniency extended to non-black fighters who overwhelmingly pop dirty. It's the same concept. They work in tandem, King. Absolutely, King Tide. Oh, the King Musa says, if that's the case, turkey sandwich, take off the gloves. Take off the gloves too, because they added gloves to make the fight last longer also. This ish is sick. Hate on the black fighters. Interesting. Ain't it? Ain't it interesting? Accurate is in the building. Salute to you. I see you. He says, salute great sister Sugar Free and the great family. Salute to you as well, Accurate. The King Corbin is... Corbin, I didn't wrench you up? Hold up. I thought I wrenched my brother Corbin up. Salute to the King Corbin in the building. He says, put a petition together, Queen, and let's get to it. Hey, we may just need to do that, King. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, the King and the Coach Hudson, my brother, my comrade, is in the building. He says, that's why we must be on code. F how they feel. The target is on your back, the target is on your back, whether you like it or not. Hitchens, Tank, Shakur, wake up, black men. 1000%. Couldn't agree more, Coach Hudson. And salute to you. Thank you for joining. T9's boxing classes in the building. He says, salute, Queen. Salute to you as well. Thank you for joining. The King Stormy. Stormy B-Man, the King and the Sensei joined the chat with us. Thank you, Stormy, for coming. I appreciate you, King. Always wonderful to see you. We got the Macadocious of the South in the building. Salute to the Mac in the building. Nice to see you. Chesamane is in the building. Salute to you, Chesamane. I got to wrench my brother up. My family, my good family, you know what I'm saying? I gotta take care of my people. Mahari Nation Sports Podcast in the building says, good afternoon, Miss SugarFreeMars. Thank you so much, Mahari Nation. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I see we got some super chats. I'm going to get to that in a second. I just wanted to scroll through and talk to the family because I know you got a lot of views and perspectives about, about this topic. The King Todd says, Turkey thinks money dictates what someone will or will not do. Real boxers aren't with that point of view if they respect the craft and the sport. Could not have said it better. I'm going to have to pin that. Can I pin that? How do I pin that message? Oh, here we go. I'm going to pin that. Excellent statement. Excellent statement. I fully agree. The King Daryl says, yeah, a little too friendly with the dinner date pics. Facts, Daryl. Facts, twin. What was up with the wine and the goddamn dining? I was like, damn, am I going to hear some goddamn Sade Smooth operator? Okay. Is somebody going to put on some damn Johnny Gill? Hello. Somebody going to throw on some Usher? What is going on with the wine and the dining? I did not. I was like, where is the Anita Baker? Somebody is going to throw on, you know what I'm saying, some Miles Davis up in here? What's popping? I don't want to see that. Not when we getting ready for war. Now, if we about to do something else, you know what I'm saying, possibly. But this is wartime. This is demon time. We don't got no time for no goddamn, no ordinary love when I'm trying to take your head off. Get out of my damn face. Oh my God, the great Mike says the dinner was ridiculous. Wasn't it? Did you see that photo, King, that was circulated? It was diabolical. Diabolical. At the flowers at the table. I was like, no, this is not the time for this. Salute to the King Bo Rice. I see you. Thank you for joining, King. Hope you are well. Let me see what else my people have been talking about. About your thoughts about this. This is so interesting, you guys. A lot to discuss. We could just, unpack a whole show just on this. There's so much, information and so much to, decode. You know what I'm saying? Interesting stuff. The twin says, I was going to buy the fight to support Bud anyway, but things are getting a bit more interesting. Yeah, aren't they? Aren't they? I definitely appreciated, the stance that Bud took in this particular presser. And of course, I appreciated his forthrightness about the thoughts concerning, the aspects of the agenda of running and stuff. Like, he handled it, and he made no bones about where he stood. You know what I'm saying? And why do you guys think that no other fighters are really talking about this? The King Stormy says, unless there's something more suspect to that. Suspect to what, King? Because I scrolled up to see that comment. I don't remember what I was talking about at that point. Unless there's something more suspect to what, King Stormy? The King Snacks B is in the building. So Lizzie says, I need Bud to really get at Canelo. Yeah, word. Real talk. Real talk, y'all. Oh, salute to the beautiful sister Emma in the building. She says, peace and love to the lovely SugarFreeMars. Peace and love to the chat. Infinite love to you, beautiful sister Emma. Thank you for joining again. I appreciate your presence, sis. Always love my beautiful sisters in the building, right? Interesting stuff, you guys. What did I miss here? The King Corbin says, what if these already millionaires keep it tall and say 22 by 22 or I ain't fighting? Bet he starts staying his ass quiet then. Yeah, word. Real talk, Corb. Real talk. Real talk. Oh, yeah? You think so, Bo Rice? Bo Rice says, Turkey was just flexing. Was he? I mean, flexing as in talking, because there surely is going to be an 18 by 18 ring that is introduced. Okay? I think it's going to be making its debut during the Berlanga Shakur Stevenson card. Okay? And it's definitely obviously going to be in place for the Bud Canelo card as well. So it's more than flexing. He's putting money behind this. He's putting media behind this. He's circulating, millions of dollars to push this agenda of running and Tom and Jerry. And, people are saying this. And, people who already have these sentiments, non-black people who already have these sentiments and were already, for the cause of pushing that nonsense are, just running the gamut. They're running the mill of this. They're so happy that they have a backing of, somebody prominent who is pushing this agenda. It's definitely more than flexing. It is implementing is what is going on. Oh, you mean the dinner. You mean the dinner. I mean, I don't want to see you flex. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him flexing. I don't want to see nothing about no damn flexing. Not when these men, it's weird. It's awkward for me to see, did Bud Crawford pose at dinner with EJ when he was about to fight him, or was there on Demon Time? Did we see goddamn whining and dining and schmoozing and goddamn red roses on deck when he was about to fight EJ? We did not. Okay? We did not see Devin Haney, and Ramirez going off for, dinner in a movie. You know what I'm saying? Hugging up and kissing up on each other under a mistletoe. That does not happen. So it was awkward as hell to see. I'm like, Turkey, this is not the way to do it. You should have kept that in your phone camera log. Don't post that to social media. It's weird to me to see that. It's weird to me. A war is about to be had. I don't want to see no damn candlelit dinner. Even though, he did, I'm sure he did consider that a flex. That's why he posted it. Oh, look at us at dinner. It's like, nah, bro. Nah. You not like us, apparently. But, let me get on to the next damn thing. So that was that. This is another very imperative discussion for us to have, you guys. And I think that it's one that, all supporters of this man or non-supporters of this man or people who are on the fence or indecisive about this man, no matter what juncture you stand within, we need to be having this conversation seriously. Okay? And that is the conversation surrounding Tank Davis. That's the conversation surrounding Tank Davis, who I also call Red Light Special Davis, aka Purple Pain Davis. What is going on with Purple Pain Davis, you guys? Can somebody inform me? Can somebody loop me in? Did I miss the email Did I not get the text message? Did somebody not send me the code? What is going on with this young man? What is going on with this young man? What are these wayward, non-committally stated, irresolute, vague statements and displays that Gervonta Davis has been making throughout the past week? Did you guys see him on social media? We got to address this, you guys, okay? This man has yet again gone on a complete tirade on Twitter during the week, okay? Just within the last couple of days. What is up with this man? He is lamenting and saying things like, oh, I don't care for boxing. Y'all can have the #1 spot. That's what he said on Twitter. That is a quote. I don't care for boxing. Y'all can have the #1 spot. This is his statement that he posted on Twitter only, days ago. What is going on with this man, you guys? Another lament? Another one? Another grievance? More bemoaning about this sport? What is up with the bemoaning? It's weird. Everything is a complaint. Everything is a lament. Somebody tell this damn man to go home somewhere if it's that bad. Go home. Go home. Stay in bed. You know what I'm saying? Close the curtain. Make yourself some dinner. Kick your feet up on the couch and chill if that's what you want to do. Hug up on your babies. Make more babies. Go ahead and settle down. If you want that type of normalcy outside of boxing, go ahead and do that. He is definitely within his right to ask for that. I'm not hating on no man who wants peace. I'm not hating on no man who wants, the luxury of comfort. But you cannot do both and at the same time, at least. Which one is it going to be? That is really the question at hand, as far as I'm concerned, concerning Gervonta Davis. He is quite problematic to me. And I don't know what is going on with him, because amid my questions, there's also, a larger question at hand that is asking, well, why isn't he going? Is there an issue? Is there an issue? And what are those issues, right? But overall, go on and find your peace, brother. Don't stand, in social media complaining about what you don't love anymore, what you would readily give away at the drop of a hat. Go ahead. Nobody is holding this man's collar. Go. The damn door is right there. Go ahead and walk yourself through it. Why is this man sticking around and complaining so incessantly about a sport that he is saying he don't give a fuck about? A sport that he wants no parts of. Why are you here if that's the case? I really cannot fathom the issue of why he is sticking around. This has to be explicated to me. And honestly, I have been waiting for answers for months now, since the New Year Real Talk, since his reintroduction of the idea of him wanting to retire. I have not got any explication. I am waiting for answers. I am looking for clues, but none have been found. None have been found and none have been given. How many damn complaints, how many gripes are we going to get from this man before he finally decides to exit stage left? It's crazy at this point. I'm tired of it. It's a goddamn merry-go-round of complaints. Take your ass on. Go on and get on. as the grown folks say. Go on and get on. You know, I really do have questions surrounding this, and it's alarming. And he is coming off as, somewhat maladroit, cumbersome, and honestly ambivalent, wildly ambivalent. Okay, I don't know if that man, is tied contractually to something, if there's, some type of legal ties that are at hand for the reason why he cannot part ways with this very thing he is saying he does not love, he does not want anymore. Is that what's going on behind the scenes? Some legal ties, some contractual obligations? I don't know. I don't know if he is maybe just publicly bewailing because maybe it's something to attract some attention for the moment. We've seen him do this in the previous fight in the lead up back in March, right? Where he was doing all these antics and stuff like that. Is this him trying to attract attention? We are in June. After all, the fight is supposedly taking place sometime in August, middle of August. What is going on here? I don't know what is with this man. But I do know that the output is incredibly childish, and he is coming off as incredibly petulant, childish, infantile, right? Moody, irascible, testy. What's going on with this man? Got the goddamn mood swings? What are you on your period? You feel me? It's just, what is going on? What is happening with you? And then, across social media, this is really what tripped me out, tripped a lot of people out, really. He proceeded to berate Lamont Roach. So a lot of people were like following the thread of the back and forth that took place between he and Lamont Roach over the past few days. And in one of these goddamn things, he is threatening Lamont Roach. Okay, even to the point in saying that he is going to release the school address of Lamont Roach's young son. What? How are you getting babies involved in your squabble? What is going on here? What you talk about his baby for? His baby? What is this for? Like I said, it has to be, for attention, because you ain't like that. You ain't going and gunning after nobody's goddamn baby. Not when you got your own. What you put out, you better motherfucking expect back. Certain people you can't play like that, but I know him and goddamn Lamont Roach have a history, they have a friendship, and they have a very close tie. So this may very well just be to rouse the public. That's what I'm guessing. But you got the right one to do that with, bro. Because you can't be making any type of eluding statements or any type of insinuations about somebody's child when you got kids too. That's the perspective that some people out here will take with you, but I presume that he knows that Lamont Roach is not on that type of time, and Lamont Roach didn't really seem to really give it too much credence after all, of course, because he knows Tank Davis and what have you. But I was just thinking about on a flip side, like, I'm saying, you know who to say that to, and that's why you are saying that, because that is not a line that I'm saying, the real ones cross, talking about people's children. A lot of people found that distasteful across social media. I'm saying? What is all of this for? Lamont Roach, first of all, never said anything ever, to my knowledge, in the public referencing, the children of Tank Davis. Why the hell, what is Tank's problem that he would even think, even if it were cute, to mention, the young son of Lamont Roach? It's just distasteful. It's tactless. I don't care if you're playing or if you're trying to attract attention, watch your mouth. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Lamont Roach seemed to have kind of, was like, yeah, kind of brushed it off. Like, he addressed it, but it felt like he knew he wasn't serious about it. And the crazy thing is that this whole, mentioning of Lamont Roach's baby came about by way of a post that Lamont Roach made that had nothing to do with Tank Davis at all. He made his own goddamn little post on his own goddamn little Twitter page, right? And he said something to the degree of, oh, you know what I'm saying, I'm out and I'm enjoying the company with the fellas on this lovely day, you know, just enjoying the day, taking the day in. That's a paraphrasing of what he said. But that is to the degree of what he was saying. Listen, I'm out with the fellas, we enjoying this beautiful day, right? And here comes Purple Pain Davis. Here comes Purple Pain Davis butting his head, and nobody's even talking about this man. And this is what Purple Pain says, quote, "The house in Upper Marlboro sits by itself, right? Like 4 or 5 bedrooms. Talk again, and I'll DM you the pic of the house and of your son's school address." End quote. That is Tank Davis. He is responding to a post of Lamont Roach enjoying the company of his brothers. What? What? This motherfucker think that he's Scarface or something? What you talk about? Oh, I'm gonna send you a picture. He think he in a goddamn you know what I'm saying, old time gangster movie? He think he's in The Godfather or something like that. Oh, I'm gonna send you a photo of the house and I'll send you your son's school address if you keep talking. What? This is crazy. It's odd, it's imbecilic, and it's way left field. What is this man talking about? Was he watching goddamn Goodfellas or something, and he just got inspired and in the character to say, "Oh, let me tweet Lamont Roach something because I'm feeling this movie right now." What is he doing? It was so odd, you guys, that even Lamont Roach replied to him. This is Lamont replied to him, "Is you cool, bruv?" Lamont Roach said, "Is you cool, bruv?" That was his response to Tank Davis. Like, even Lamont Roach is like, "You all right, son? The fuck is good? What's going on here?" You know what I mean? Crazy, bizarre stuff at hand on Twitter, in the Twitter world, you guys. If you guys haven't seen it, you know, definitely go track the, you know, the pages of Lamont Roach, and you will get the tea of all that was going down. It was bizarre, you guys. Now, also interesting with Lamont Roach and this whole thing that's going on, this is something a little bit less laughable. This is actually something that I found to be astounding and quite maybe startling and questionable. Now, Lamont Roach made some statements on Twitter also that were every bit of shocking. Now, you know, they seem to allude to the possibility that Tank Davis will rescind from the fight. This is what the sentiments expressed by Lamont Roach seem to be expressing. Or I can't even say seem, because in one post he blatantly expressed such a concern that he had about Tank Davis's the possibility that he will rescind. Now, in one tweet, a fan said to Roach, quote, "Gervonta is scared as shit of Roach. Do your big one again in the rematch and stamp that shit." That's the response that a fan wrote to Lamont Roach. And Lamont responded to this particular person. And he said this, quote, "If he actually fights, let's see. He's going to pull a Ryan and say he's not fit or some shit." That's Lamont Roach. He says he's going to pull a Ryan and say that he is not fit. Do you hear this? He is in question about if he will actually even fight. Crazy work. And that's not it. That's not it, and that's not all, my beautiful people. He also, in another tweet, said the following, quote, "Buddy know damn well I don't fuck around like that. He gassing y'all up to justify why he ain't do his part of the deal yet. He really about to pull out of this fight. Stay tuned." That's Lamont Roach, you guys, right on his goddamn Twitter page, y'all. Do you hear this? He's gassing y'all up to justify why he didn't do his part of the deal yet. Do you goddamn mean to tell me that Tank Davis didn't sign his contract? Is this why we have not got any official statements made or confirmations given about the actual date and location of this fight? We have got no information pertaining to the undercard or anything. We just got some, illusion surrounding a hypothetical date of August 16th. That's all we've got. We've got no fight poster that dropped. It is June 22nd, you guys. June 22nd. And this fight has no official poster. This fight has no official venue. This fight has no undercard made public. What are we doing? And here is Lamont Roach sharing the fact that he did not sign his part of the deal yet. What? He really about to pull out of the fight. Stay tuned. This is Lamont Roach's statement, y'all. Crazy work. Okay? Suffice it to say that, Lamont Roach is already anticipating that once again, this fight will be put in jeopardy. Doesn't this sound familiar, you guys? If I could just give a quick flashback. Didn't Tank pull the same antic leading up to the initial bout? How many times was that fight date altered? Huh? How many times was it altered? Wasn't it supposed to be set for November? Then it was pushed to December. Then it was pushed to February. And then we had the finalization that it was going to take place on March 1st, I believe. Or was it March 2nd, one of those days? 4 fucking pushbacks. And Gervonta Davis went on social media at that particular time. I believe it was like sometime maybe during December or January, something like that. Threatening cancellation. Oh, I'm over it. The fight's canceled. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? He went on social media and posted, oh, the fight's canceled. What's going on here? Why is this a constant theme? You know what I'm saying? But at least at that time, I am assuming, hopefully, that he had his deal signed already. Lamont Roach is now saying that he hasn't even signed his deal. What? What is with this back and forth? How many times are we going to have to, you know what I'm saying? What is this topsy-turvy, wayward interaction? Instability from Tank Davis. It's weird. This man, Tank Davis, real talk, you guys, is absolutely exhausting to me. Am I the only one that feels like that? I am exhausted by Tank Davis. Mentally exhausted by this man. The past year and up have been absolutely exhausting to me. Even before and prior to the Frank Martin fight, I was elated when he finally signed on for that fight. It was a wonderful fight. It was a fight that I geared up for. It was a fight that I was very excited for Tank Davis. But even prior to that, he was lingering in no man's land to me. He was not committing to any fights. He kept, evading and ducking. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't showing interest in fighting the likes of Devin Haney, of course. Devin Haney ultimately went on to bigger and better things. He has been disavowing Shakur Stevenson, discrediting him, even up until, recent times, so that he does not want to fight Shakur Stevenson. Who the fuck do you want to fight? He didn't want to fight Keyshawn Davis before the spectacle that Keyshawn became, of course, recently. But, who the hell do you want to fight? Are you just going to leave your career at Frank Martin as having been the best competitor you have entered the ring with? What is going on? So that he has been exhausting me. My energy has been absolutely, depleted in following Tank Davis for the past, let's say, 2, 3, 4 years or something like that. And it's certainly the case now. It's certainly the case now. He's mentally exhausting to me. It's an exhaustive, daunting task to be a supporter of Purple Pain Davis at this point. It's weird. It's absolutely weird. I'm not exhausted by any other fighter in the sport the way I have been exhausted by Gervonta Tank Davis. It's diabolical, y'all. Real talk. I'm keeping it a buck with y'all. I'm tired. It's like, nah, nigga, no, you gonna have to go on, over there somewhere. Don't bring that shit over here. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to rescind my motherfucking support of this man. Speaking of rescinding, you know, he exists for me now only on the periphery. Only on the periphery. You know, he is becoming a distant thing, a shadow of something somewhere, because that's where he's placing himself. We only ever ask for him to fight the best. We only ever ask to exalt him. He doesn't want us to fully exalt him because he doesn't want to fully commit to warriorship. He wants to go ahead and skate on the fringes of the idea of the allegation of greatness, but he does not want to prove it. I have a problem with that. All of my fighters have proven themselves to me, whether they succeeded in battle or not. They gave me their heart on the table. That's why I stand 10 toes with my kings. You know what I'm saying? They gave me the valor. They showed me, that they are 10 toes in what they do and what they believe in and what they seek to accomplish for themselves. That is what I support. Whether you win or not is, a whole nother debate. But the attacking of your dreams, the envisioning of your goals, and the attaining of your place is my valor. That's the crown that I give you. You can't skate around, a show of heart. That's a requirement. That's a prerequisite as far as I'm concerned. Tank Davis doesn't want to live up to that. He does not want to expound upon our idea of his greatness. He doesn't want to do that. He just says, call me great and watch me take a picture in this selfie with my new bag. What the fuck? I don't give a damn about the straight perm you wearing. You know what I'm saying? I want to go see if you can, surpass Devin Haney. I want to see if you could supersede the abilities of Shakur Stevenson. That's what I want to see. I wanted to see, if you were better than Lomachenko. That's what I wanted to see. I want to see if you will move up and test your skills against a Gary Antoine Russell. What's going on? He has been refusing to exemplify the greatness that he is so conceitedly thinking that he already holds. That's the problem. That's a problem for many of us. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Real talk, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how much more I can take of, Shakur Stevenson ain't never done nothing for me. He don't deserve my love. Shakur Stevenson is in his weight class to this day on my wildest shit. Man ain't go no goddamn where. Keyshawn Davis talk about moving up after the fiasco that he put on a couple of weeks ago. He's talking about moving up. Shakur Stevenson is 10 toes right next to this man. He's still not talking about him. Nothing. Oh, Shakur Stevenson don't deserve my love, y'all. He didn't buy me no roses or no champagne, child. He didn't whisper all the right things in my ear. He didn't call me baby the way I like it. I can't fight no damn Shakur Stevenson. Zip this motherfucker the fuck up and get him out of here, please. What are you doing? Now you ducking Roach? The 130-pounder, the motherfucker you cherry picked from 130, brought his ass up. Now you even ducking him? God damn. Damn. This man is making a mockery of everything we believed him to be. He is ruining his own star. It's crazy. The self-inflicted wounds he is causing. Himself. Nobody else is doing this to him. It is him. It's him. This is by his own hand that this castigation is coming. I'm not down with it. It's crazy to me. Zip him up and get him out of here. I have no idea what Purple Pain Davis, aka Red Light Special Davis, is doing. Now you guys know why he has those names for me, because he is too precious. He is too precious. I don't know what Red Light Special Davis is doing. Okay. I do know that I am sick of the charades. Okay. Champside, the beautiful king, shared a screenshot while I was on the panel with him a couple of days ago, of a tweet that Tank had posted. And of course he subsequently deleted, right? As he tends to do. He tweets and deletes. But he shared it on his page, a snapshot of what Tank Davis had posted. And it looked to be in response to something that may have been a query from someone. And in the post, he stated the following, quote, "This is not the case. I've been doing this since I was 7. I am 30. Boxing should be an important piece of my life because of the people, but it's killing me. Sometimes you got to know when to let go." End quote. That's Tank Davis. That post is no longer up, but it was a screenshot was taken of it and shared. And I got so many thoughts about that. I think it's time for him to do just that. I think it's time for Tank Davis to let go, if I'm going to be frank. It's time for him to let go. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do the letting go. All right? That's what I'm on the sidelines waiting for. Because, the charades and the antics, I have no interest in whatsoever, no investment in. I refuse to invest in that. You cannot do this half-heartedly. This is a sport that requires a mindset of hunger. That isn't to say that these men do not have families. That's not to say that these men do not have women, who love on them, who touch them, who speak to them softly, who kiss their foreheads and hold their hands. That is not to say that these men don't have babies who hold their legs and follow them around the house and share their cookies with them. There are grandmothers who bake them pies and all the soft things in life. These men have complete lives, right? And so it is not only warriorship, in other words, right? These men are not always hard all the time. Oh, I'm tough. I'm Teflon. No, you know what I'm saying? These men have lives too, but there is a mindset in being a fighter that requires you to, at times, understand the fact that you must get away from that for a certain segment of time. That this is your path, this is your road, and there's a mindset that requires you to be other than all the soft things that await you at home. If Tank Davis is honestly unable to make the disassociation or to disconnect from the two, if he is deeply yearning for soft life, for a fulfilled life of hands and hugs and babies and morning kisses, that's beautiful. And that is fine. I have no problem with that. I cannot say that enough. But he needs to go ahead and lean fully into that life. Because he can fuck around and get himself hurt, in other words, staying half-heartedly in a sport that he would rather be out of. Because if he is not focused, if he is not fiery, if he is not with his sword in his hand, he can be caught slipping and he can damage himself, senselessly and unnecessarily. So stop pleading for the people. This tweet, oh, I should stay committed to a sport. You know what I'm saying? I've been in since I was 7 years old, even though I'm 30, even though it's killing me. This is his language, you guys. The answer is no. The answer is no. I am telling Tank Davis, and I'm sure many of the, cognizant ones here who have supported him or who have backed him are saying, no, nobody would ask you to stand still and kill your goddamn self. If it is killing you, exit. Abort. In other words, abort fucking mission. Go. Get going. Don't stand here and kill yourself. Don't stand here and deplete your mentality, your spirituality. Nothing is worth that. If it is killing you, leave. I don't know what he is staying for, as I said earlier. It goes back to that question. What are you staying for if it is killing you like this? Where are his people? Does he have a wife? Does he have a woman? You know what I'm saying? Where is his mother? Is he staying to pay for them? To pay for their, you know what I'm saying? Did he not amass enough money to be able to retire? He said he was going to retire, so obviously he feels like some level of comfortability to be able to say that he is going to retire by the end of this year. Do it now. Why the fuck you waiting to the end of the year? Are you trying to get the last bag? Is that what it is? Oh, let me get these last couple of millions to add to the stash. Motherfucker, if you're a multimillionaire, leave now. If it's killing your soul, he's the one that's saying that his soul is at stake. His well-being is at stake. He's the one that said, I want to get all of the toughness out of my body. I have daughters. I want to be soft. I want to remove this hardness from my life. This is what he has said over the past year. But he is not making the official call to get out and go. It's crazy. But at the same time, this is the same Gervonta Tank Davis who is saying that, y'all could have the number one spot, but turn around and say, oh, well, the sport's not exciting without me. What the fuck type of narcissistic shit is this, y'all? This is toxic and twisted as hell. Am I the only one peeping this? It's crazy. And I know there's a lot of delusional people out there that I have seen also across social media, probably a few of them in here now, who hold the perspective, oh, well, he's just tweeting. Oh, he's promoting the fight. I've seen all types of, a myriad, points of view saying that across social media, here and there. Oh, well, he's just, he's just promoting. What? By incessantly stating that the sport is killing him? By referencing his children and a need to be soft for their sake? How the hardness and the toughness in his body is posing a detriment to how he connects with his children? That is not a way I've ever seen any fighter promote a goddamn fight. That sounds like some serious psychological issues, some serious spiritual yearnings, and I want to support that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that if this is the case, he should be subjecting himself to remaining in something that is essentially destroying him mentally and whatever have you. It's weird. I can go on for days about that, but he cannot allow himself to stay in the sport. Like I said, it is a war zone. Okay. He knows that more than anybody. Like he said, he's been doing this since he was a baby. 7 years old. That's a baby. A baby. This is a war zone. This man can really fuck around and get himself hurt. This is not the place where you want to be unfocused or dejected. Take your ass home and tend to that softness that you want in your life. But you're not going to get it in the ring. That's for sure. Not when motherfuckers trying to take your head off. So he needs to go ahead and go figure that out. Very weird stuff, y'all. What do y'all think about Tank Davis? What y'all think about Tank Davis, y'all? Interesting stuff. Yes, twin. And he got the Jake Paul thing, supposedly and allegedly, set to be in the works at some point before the year is up. And I have also heard, twin, the circlings about the Manny Pacquiao possibility if he wins against Barrios and all this, that, and the third. That part I don't know, but the definitely is a possibility, I guess. But I could say there's been more alluding to the Jake Paul fight, over the past few months, and we heard Jake Paul speak on it himself and kind of verify, like, yeah, he was set to fight Tank Davis, but he wanted him to go get the rematch with Roach. So that has a little bit more credibility to it. But the Manny Pacquiao fight is just an absolute debacle, if that's the case. So Luke King Copper, I see you. He says, now we hear Tank ain't signed to fight Roach yet. Now we know why Tank has never fought Devin. Tank ain't fought Devin, and Tank ain't fought Shakur or anybody else of smoke and valor and, on an equal footing as him, because he does not want competition. And that is among the primary issues I have with Tank Davis. And it's another reason why I think he should just exit the sport. In addition to the whole, mental health and spiritual, search that he is on or whatever. I think that above that, he does not want to compete. He does not want to prove himself in the sport. I think he liked and he very much enjoyed skating along the idea of being the protege of the greatest of TBE. And he very much liked all that accompanied his association with Mayweather. I think that he's liked the coddling and cossetting that he's had over the years and the people being wowed and dazzled by his knockouts. And he was able to get by on that. I hate to say it in that way because I'm not in any way trying to say that I don't like him as a fighter, that I don't believe he's exceptionally, talented. I do think he's a wonderful fighter. And he has been, he was one of the people who pulled me back into boxing, Tank Davis. So I have a, close connection, or I have maintained one for a very long time with Tank Davis. He was one of the ones who pulled me into the sport even deeper than I had been previously in my life. So, I look at him dishearteningly, to say that I believe in his potential. I'm asking and only have ever been asking for him to display it, show it. And the only way you can show it is by fighting the top elite predators. That's it. There's no way to goddamn bypass that. You cannot sugarcoat legacy. You either go for it or you don't. And he has obviously, opted out. He's opted out. And so I'm saying, well, if that's the case, you have no business in the sport. In addition to, you feeling like you've been doing this for too long and feeling like it's killing you, motherfucker. In addition to that, that's not the only goddamn issue. In addition to that issue is the other issue, the pertinent issue, that you don't want to goddamn compete with elite warriors. It is what it is. There's no way I can sugarcoat that. Nothing sweet over here. That's just how I see it. That's absolutely how I see it. Now, wow, the twin says Tank had a lot of potential 7 or 8 years ago. If he followed a trajectory of, aligning with, elite warriors. Let's say he didn't fight Devin, in 2018 or anything like that, when a lot of that heat was starting to really, really be centered around Devin Haney and stuff like that. And, let's say he did it, after the Santa Cruz fight. You know what I'm saying? Let's say 2021, 2022. That fight should have happened, 3 years ago. Even if it didn't take place in 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2020, that shit should have happened like 2022. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? After Dev defeated Lomachenko, that was the fight to make. At 35 was the Tank Davis and young King Devin Haney fight. That was the time to do it, and Devin held on as long as he could until he's like, nah, I'm not going to fucking wait forever for these niggas. In addition to that, I'm a growing man. I'm a young man, but my body is growing. I'm going up to 40. A lot of time was wasted. And of course, he absolutely aged Lomachenko out. It's just diabolical work. That this man literally, kicked his legacy out the door. It did not slip between his fingers. He kicked that shit out the door. And said, fuck legacy, fuck belts, fuck everything. I don't give a damn. Just give me the mystique. Give me the mythology surrounding my name, surrounding my capabilities. It's all mythology. And it's going to remain that way, it seems. What are we going to be attributing to this man 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Except the fact that he fought no one. That's his legacy. He had some nice knockouts, ooh, but who did he fight? That's how you're going to be put in the history books? But according to him, he don't even care. He don't care about legacy. So, get the fuck stepping. In my book, he's zipped up. That's just, it's hard for me to say that, but he's zipped up. Okay? I will not unzip that bag. I will not go retrieve that bag, that body bag that he is in, if there's no signs of life in it. And real talk, there's no signs of life. So, and he's talking retirement, and it's just further proof of that. Anywho, that's it for me. On that subject, at least. Oh yeah, cannot end this discussion today without talking about B. Norm the Storm. What? We got to talk about the young lion, Brian Norman Jr., who showed all the way out, only a few days ago on none other than Juneteenth in spectacular fashion. What a phenomenal performance by the young lion, Brian Norman, you guys. Juneteenth, 10 toes, I was with it. Super, super way. to reel in the wonderful holiday of Juneteenth, and also for him to grab a dub. I think it's safe to say that the boxing world has absolutely been put on notice, on absolute notice, and even beyond notice, real talk, officially, by the King, Brian Norman. He is being spoken about in ways that he has never previously been. It's wonderful to see him get this level of accreditation. It's wonderful to see, people on standby and looking in and peering in to the possibilities of what lies ahead for this young man. It's wonderful seeing all types of dialogue circulated around him because he is a phenomenal and wonderful talent. He's definitely one of my favorite young gunners right now, and I definitely support the King 10 toes, right? So it seems to me that with this performance, all of the insinuations previously held, all of the speculations over the past several months, the questions surrounding his credibility, his notoriety, etc. Brian Norman, aka B Norm the Storm, reigned on the parade of doubters and all types of detractors with his performance on Thursday. He shut all of the noise up and said, listen, I'm here. And not only am I here, but this is my shit. 147 is my turf. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. B Norm flew out to Japan, you guys, to defend his WBO strap. And in doing so, he faced Jin Sasaki, and he was the number 2 ranked fighter in the WBO at the time, right? And so highly ranked fighter, coming in there with a level of credence. Nice to fight a highly ranked fighter. So good for him for taking on that challenge and doing so, doing what a lot of people don't like to do, which is venture out into new territory, into new turf. Literally, he traveled over to Japan to fight this man in his backyard. And in doing that, he quite arguably scored the knockout of the first half of the year. Of course, we cannot say of the year because we are 6 months in, right? Going into 7th months in. The year is not quite done yet. But so far, he is heralded as having the knockout of the first half of the year, which is fantastic for him. I'm glad that he was able to acquire that, standing and footing for himself. He got Sasaki out of there in round 5 by way of a vicious, devastating left hook, you guys. I mean, what? Mean, nasty left hook. Just laid that man out like some damn laundry. He went in there and he did the damn thing, okay? I'm definitely hoping, I must say, for a thorough recovery for Sasaki, who was said to have suffered some pretty significant memory loss as a result of being knocked out by that left hook. Crazy work, right? It's been going around that he was unable to recall anything within the last 6 weeks. How crazy is that? That man cannot recall the past 6 weeks of his life. Crazy work. So I'm definitely wishing well for he and his family. And I hope that he, makes a nice full recovery, a full recovery. That's nothing to play with, you guys. So blessings to Sasaki and the family of Sasaki. But most certainly, one has to definitely be in a congratulatory mood for the young lion, B Norm. Okay. He's absolutely kicked the door in. And he has stated to the boxing world that I am here, and he has definitely claimed our full attention, and rightfully so, y'all, right? Since it's become official that Boots is departing the welterweight division, B Norm is undoubtedly the new king and the new face of 147 without question. He is the king of the division now, okay? Crazy enough, you guys, right on the heels of this fight with Brian Norman on Thursday, I would be remiss to bypass how interesting it is that Boots Ennis announced his moving up to 154. Right on the heels of the damn Brian Norman fight. I mean, literally within hours of this fight, you guys. Literally within hours of the fight. He's announcing that he's moving up to 54 on social media. What was up with that move, y'all? I got questions. I really do. Okay. Now, Eddie Hearn came out, let's say maybe a week or two ago. I don't know if you guys saw some interviews where Eddie had been alluding to the move. Okay. But it wasn't made official, of course, until Boots posted across his social media the following. He said, quote, "It's time. 154. Y'all said this is where the smoke at? Let's have it then. Two-time weight division champ, four-time world champ loading." That's the statement made by Boots Ennis. Now, I have been seeing myriad perspectives surrounding Boots' jump to 54. And the views, quite honestly, have been very divided, right? People are very, split about the abrupt, precipitous move that he made, right? Out of nowhere. And you guys all know that I have been half and half about it as well. At least when I initially, my initial reaction to the move was pretty half and half. Eddie Hearn had posited that the decision pretty much was made ultimately because of the health precautions that Boots' team wanted to take, to ensure, of course, his wellness health-wise. And furthermore, he stated how 147 was said to basically be at a detriment to the health of Boots Ennis. And that is what ultimately prompted the decision, pretty much. So my thing is, though, one of the questions that I had upon learning this, and of course getting the news, the official breaking of the news, if such was the case about his health being, at a detriment, why has it taken Boots so long? Why did he wait to go ahead and move up? If such was the case, and he had, let's say, been having an ongoing issue with the health and the feeling strong and stuff like that, even though it was unbeknownst to the public, and even though it is certainly wise for him to take counsel with his team and listen to his body and stuff like that, why the hell did he wait? Why did he wait? I just don't get that. I don't understand why he waited, especially after that Karen fight. He could have, what I'm saying? I also couldn't help but think about his goals of Undisputed. Of course, as I am considering all the things that are being said about him wanting to feel stronger and him, only operating possibly at 30% or something like that. I can also help reflect on all his talk about Undisputed. I was on deck for him to go ahead and get that. You know what I'm saying? It's something that he was so adamant about. It's something that he was so steadfast within for years. Oh, I'm going to be undisputed. I'll be undisputed at 47. So that the news of his departure was quite the unexpected turn for me and many people, right? But like I said, his health is definitely primary. So it is what it is. Also, there is an oddity lurking in this situation additionally. Why didn't he, I can't help but, ask it, why, who told him to wait and not move up directly after that fight with Karen back in April? And I guess, we're only in June, so I guess you could say, it's not too long after. But what was, my thing is like, why was he lingering? If I'm not mistaken, right after that fight with Karen, when he was in the ring, you guys recall that? And he had said that, I had difficulty making weight and it was time to move up. Y'all remember? He was not even out of the ring when he said this after that fight with Karen, right? And a lot of people thought that when he said that, he was probably just maybe lamenting, and being overly critical about his performance that night. Because, a lot of people were also having some questions as to, why was Boots getting hit? And, questions about his defense. And of course, he himself felt like he could have had a better performance, even though I felt that he dominated, wholeheartedly dominated that fight, even though he had to go to war with Karen, right? But, that instance was the first and the only time that I had ever heard Boots Ennis complain about making weight at 147 was in that particular moment when he was saying in the ring, it's time for me to move up, right? So it's like, okay, if that was the case, okay. But what was strange was that right after that, barely a month or two after that particular fight, he was in an interview with YSM, and he was restating, recertifying the fact that undisputed was his goal at 147, was his goal and his objective at 147. Wasn't even 2 months later. So what the fuck was up with that? Okay? And this is right around the time, if you guys remember, where talks of he and Virgil getting into a fight at 54 was swarming around as a possibility. And he said that he did not, wasn't interested in taking that fight with Virgil at 54 because of his plans of becoming undisputed at 47. He still wanted to attain undisputed at 47. You remember that? So it's like, what the fuck? What is this dancing? You could have been moved up to 54 when Virgil, if that's the case, presented you the opportunity, to fight at 54. At least when those dialogues were, being had, you could have just said, all right, let me move up to 54 now. Your body ain't feeling, right. But maybe it was just a case of like, oh, well, should I still make the sacrifice to do it, or should I move up now? But, it's just weird to me. You had the out to go to 154 back then. I don't understand the stalling of the decision and the abruptness of the decision. That was definitely weird to me. But, he's definitely held the topsy-turvy, unclear position this whole time, and I don't even know why. You said in the ring that, it's time to move up, and then, you basically, don't even entertain the opportunity, fully to fight Virgil when the discussion was put on the table for you to go to 54 and fight him. You said, no, I want to be undisputed. Now, you dropping the belts. What is going on here? It's not looking good, is what I'm saying. The optics don't look good. And it's bringing up a lot of the dialogue that had people wondering if you were ducking Virgil. And now this situation is looking, to present another dialogue, inquiring into the possibility that you are ducking Brian Norman. The optics don't look good at all. They don't look good. I got to keep it a rack about that. They do not look good. It looks weird. The timing of your announcing of going to 154, literally on the heels of Brian Norman's performance, on the heels of his fight. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, I can't call Boots a duck, but it's a duck pending. I gotta use your boy Black Truth's, words on that. Is this a damn duck pending? You know what I'm saying? Listen, a lot of people already took it there. They're not even giving you the grace of duck pending that I'm giving you. That shit definitely doesn't look good, and it's raising a lot of questions. But, I'm wishing him well. Like I said, if his health was really at stake, it is what it is. Only he and his doctors and his nutritionists and his team and his dad know that it is what it is. He has to go where his body feels healthy, feels strong. There's no sense at staying anywhere where you don't feel strong, where you don't feel solid. So, go ahead and go to 154. Maybe he'll try to tackle undisputed there in that territory. We shall see. But it's definitely interesting how he went about it. No doubt about that. But anyway, back to be Norm. As far as the young Storm, the Norm, is concerned, as far as he and Senior are concerned, they are absolutely convinced that Boots ducked him. Okay? If anybody don't have no questions about the duckery, it's Brian Norman Jr. and Senior. They are convinced that they were ducked. Okay? The judge and the jury is in, as Brian Norman Sr. said, right? The judge and the jury is in. They are absolutely convinced. There's no turning around on that fact for them. They don't want to hear nothing about no damn weight difficulty. They don't hear nothing about no health matters. They don't want to hear nothing about no damn being drained. None of that. They are not with it. They say, you're ducked. You're ducked because you know what was coming for you. Okay? In fact, after his knockout victory, when the young lion, Brian Norman, was given the mic, he was asked, what's next? What's in line for you? Something like that. And then Brian Norman said, quote, well, I wish I had a certain fight coming up, but they heard the B Norm the Storm was coming. And you know what happens when the storm comes. They grab their boots and run. Jeez, I was like, damn. Well, if it looked like a duck and walk like a duck, ain't that how the saying goes? Brian Norman was not playing. He says they know when the storm comes, what they do, they grab their boots and they run. I think that's smoke terms to me. I was wondering if Boots Ennis would be like, wait, what you say? And turn himself back around and confront the storm. But obviously, he's not trying to do that. So it's a possibility that we will get to see them at 54, at some particular point. Brian Norman is still young, however, so I don't know how, he could make 147. I've heard no complaints so far about him making weight. He's very much still growing into his man strength, so he seems to be, just fine at 147. So it may be some time before, he makes that move up to 54. So we don't know when we will ever see that Boots fight, but I'm hoping that it is not too far down the line. We could only wait and see, right? But the verdict of the duckery is in as far as the Normans are concerned, which is hilarious to me. Sky is definitely the limit for the young king, Brian Norman. Of course, a massive dialogue has opened up about the possible fight ahead with the young king, Black Jesus, Devin Haney. Okay? Everybody is talking about that particular fight. And I am 10 toes on deck for that whenever it happens. That is a fight to see in boxing. Since we are not ever going to get Tank Davis versus Devin Haney, since we are likely never to see either Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney, this is it. Okay, this is one of them ones. This is a top tier fight as well. Okay, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody's eyes have diverted to the possibility of this fight. They are weight classmen. They are, on a collision course. It just is what it is. Funny thing is that Devin took to his Twitter earlier in the week and he said something like, Brian Norman is ass, right? I think somebody had questioned something to the degree of, the inquisition around if they would ever fight. Would you ever fight Brian Norman? Or somebody mentioned Brian Norman. And Brian's response was, Brian is ass, right? Well, after the show-stopping knockout that B. Norm put on and gave on Thursday, the young king Devin retracted his statement and said simply, damn, maybe Brian ain't so ass. That's a direct quote from the young king Devin Haney. Damn, maybe Brian ain't so ass, right? So I like the conjecture there. I think Devin is full and goddamn aware of who Brian Norman is. He is fully aware of who that man is and what he possesses. Okay, he would not have had him number 5 on his hit list if he did not think he was credible. Okay, so I think that was just a little, poking fun and stuff like that. This is war, you guys, right? And so the talking shit is a part of that. So I think that was Devin's way to poke fun and also give credence upon his win, which was funny to see. Maybe Brian Norman ain't so ass, right? It's like, yeah, Dev, that's why you got him on your list. That's why he's number 5 on the list, top 5. So fantastic stuff lies ahead as far as the potential for this fight. I'm definitely on deck, y'all. I'm so excited for this. I think this is a fight, that is going to spark a much needed energy back into the sport. Exciting stuff lies ahead here. But, of course, we have to see what is at hand. I'm not sure what's going to go on with the Barrios Pacquiao winner. I know that Devin Haney is ranked number 1 in the WBC, so we don't know what is going to be had as far as the winner of Barrios Pacquiao and if that person will fight Devin, or if the speculations is true that if Manny Pacquiao were to win that particular fight, if he would be fighting Tank Davis. I have no idea. All of that is still a little bit disparate right now, so we have to wait in the coming months to see what is going to take place. I think that Pacquiao Barrios fight is taking place sometime next month, so hopefully by the end of summer, early fall, we'll get some more concretizing of the details, but we shall see. But as far as the Devin Haney Brian Norman fight, what real talk, the fight between these two beautiful young brothers, young warriors. That fight is going to be not only something spectacular, but it will most certainly be for the culture, y'all. This is a fight for the culture. You feel me? Cannot wait to see that collision because I definitely know that when it happens, without a doubt, boxing will definitely be made great again, y'all. Facts or no? I am 10 toes on deck for that particular fight. Let me check in with my people before we wrap this one up. I think I kind of hit all of the major points that I wanted to discuss. Let me know your thoughts and posits. Exactly, twin. Tweet and delete master. Salute to Absolute. I see you in the building. Thank you for joining if you're still in the building. Appreciate you. Oh no, not Mr. Roll Tide and David Tissane going back and forth. Oh my God. Salute to the King David Tissane in the building, by the way. If I didn't shout you out earlier, salute to the King David. Appreciate you coming, King. What are y'all going back and forth about? Oh my God. You guys are diabolical. Oh my goodness. Y'all are always going back and forth with each other. Let me see. Oh, what's up, King Ra? I see you in the building. Promoting what nothing is official yet? Ciao. Nothing is official yet. And that's what I'm saying. But that's how those people think, King Ra. Oh, Tank is just promoting the fight. This motherfucker ain't signed a deal, according to Roach. But this is him promoting the fight. You know, these people they have to find ways to cope. Oh, Tank is just, oh, he's just flexing. Oh, Tank is just trolling. Oh, today is just Wednesday. That's why he's doing it. Crazy work. The coping is crazy. Salute to the King NBA D Nice. Salute to you. I didn't see you in the building earlier, King. Salute to you if you're still here. Nice to see you. Lovely to see you. Oh, I did have some super chats to read. Hold on, you guys, before I even continue scrolling. We got some love from the people today. I appreciate the support, you guys, always. Salute to the King Smitty Smith in the building and 10 toes with the love. He says, salute, Queen. Just checking in before I go run some errands. Stay strong, and you are appreciated. Thank you so much to the King Smith in the building, Smitty Smith. Salute to the King Nata. 86, always 10 toes on deck with the goddess. He says, salute SugarFreeMars and salute to the mighty LDBC. Much love to everyone in the chat. Keep cooking, Queen. Thank you so much, King Nata. I appreciate you always. And definitely 10 toes and big love to my twin, Daryl Anderson in the building. He says, just some color in the chat for a great cook. Salute, twin. Thank you so much, King. I appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate you always. Yeah, y'all. Oh, my beautiful sister Tay Tay. Hey, Tay. What's up, mama? Yes, indeed. You already know, sis. 10 toes. Let me scroll through here. Oh, all right, David. David says, Devin better watch out for that Brian left hook. It's levels above Orion on PEDs. Listen, David, I ain't got no beef with that. You are absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Brian Norman, you know what I'm saying, is one of my hitters for a reason. Okay? He's definitely bringing that power. He's definitely stepping. And it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, you know, against the prowess and elite mastership and warriorship of Devin Haney, right? Interestingly, I think that they both possess interesting qualities that can work to quell the other, right? Devin is coming with that beautiful mastery, that jab. He knows how to, you know, control the ring. He knows how to fight on the inside. He knows how to fight on the back foot. He's very versatile, a fighter. He has many styles, multiple tools to use in his bag. And Brian Norman is a puncher. You know what I'm saying? He comes hard. He does not back down. He has a level of aggression that he likes to assert. He is tricky because he has, I can't say as good a footwork as Devin, but he's definitely, you know, skillful in his boxing. You know what I'm saying? As well. So I think it's going to be, it's going to be a very entertaining fight. And I can't wait to see the direction that each men take as far as their approach for this particular battle. You know what I mean? Definitely interesting fight. I can't wait to see it. I think we're going to be in for a really, really big treat when that fight does commence. Um, Mr. Roll Tide says, David Tissane, Junior, me and Junior are good. Just doing some father-son talking. Oh my God, because that's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the back and forth. I was like, oh my God, Junior is going back and forth with his damn father. Just some good old back and forth father and son catching up talk. Okay. My bad. I didn't mean to get in the father and son business. And David says, nah, me and Junior are cool, queen. Okay. All right now. Salute to the King Black Martial Arts Society. I see you in the building. He says, Tank is a classic Herb. Damn, not Herb. Damn, you brought me back to 97 with that. Not a Herb. Damn. Crazy work. Tank is scary. He's definitely presenting himself to be scary. Absolute. Okay? Could not have said it better. Crazy stuff. Salute to my beautiful sister, Chiquila Fields, in the building with some love in the super chat for the goddess. I appreciate you, mama. She says, powerful show, warrior queen. Salute. And salute and big, big love to you, my beautiful sister, Chiquila. Always in the building with the support. Thank you so much for showing up. And thank you for your constant, beautiful support of the channel. I appreciate you very, very much. Yeah, you guys, Mr. Roll Tide is my son. Yo, y'all be having me cracking up with that craziness that y'all be into, back and forth, going at each other like that. Y'all are crazy as hell. I love that. I love that. It's so funny. Salute to everybody in the building again. I think that's it for me. I'm going to end here. I don't want to keep you on too much longer. I know I've been going on for a while, but I definitely wanted to extend my thanks to you. Wonderful conversation today, you guys. Wonderful, catching up with you. Wonderful to see your insight and perspective on today's discussion and all of the points at hand today. A lot of stuff going on in boxing, and hopefully whatever the rearranging is at hand, we can posit our own, needs for, what actually needs to be shifted, as far as the trajectory of boxing, because we have a voice too. We have a say too. There are things that we can impact and rearrange ourselves by showing a level of support for it or non-support for it, with our dialogue, with our dollars, and everything else that we bring to the table as boxing fans, because we definitely do hold a powerful position. Turkey is not the only one with a seat at the table as far as this boxing thing is concerned. I don't want any of us to forget that. Okay? So I think I'm going to end it there. I pray everybody has a wonderful rest of your evening. And I definitely am praying for a wonderful week ahead for the beautiful family. Thank you again so much for joining me, you guys. I will catch y'all on the next one, y'all. All right? Peace and infinite blessings to you. I'll see you soon. Peace.